Hello. I would love for you all to take a moment to look at the picture behind me and imagine this. Between 4 and 15 million years ago, on the hot, dry plains of what is now Africa, a small family of hominids are browsing at the edge of some trees. One of them, a young, thirsty, playful individual, wanders away from the rest of her group. She's too short to see over the grass, and so she stands up. Not wanting to lose sight of her family, she takes a step, and then another, and another. Now, the story of how humans evolved from quadrupedalism, the use of 4 limbs for locomotion, to bipedalism, the use of 2, is one that many of the world's top archaeologists and scientists are still trying to puzzle together. However, some things are clear, and one of these is that the human foot has evolved like no other animal here on planet Earth. Not even apes or chimpanzees. You see, our feet are designed for walking and running, and theirs are still designed for climbing. Even 500 years ago, during the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci recognized this when he began studying and drawing human feet. He said that the human foot is a masterpiece of engineering and a work of art. Contained in each adult foot are 26 bones, 33 joints, 19 muscles, and over 100 ligaments holding it all together. Perhaps most importantly, there are at least 200,000 nerves, nerve endings, helping you to sense every step that you take. Now, the human foot is shaped like an arch, with the toes, the ball, and the heel providing wide supports on each side. Arches are unique because as more weight is applied on top, they become stronger. However, if pushed or pulled from side to side, they will instantly collapse. To help visualize this, look at the arch behind me and realize that it stands solely because of the force of its own weight pushing down. Now, when I was a child of 3, 4, 5 years old, I didn't know any of this. I was too busy running and jumping and playing with friends, climbing trees, and just discovering the world around me, exploring the limits of my physicality versus the boundaries of my imagination. And like many, many lucky kids, I was able to do a lot of this barefoot. Shoes were simply too complicated at the time. Why would I want to mess with shoes? And laces? Forget laces. However, like many kids who begin to grow up, I started noticing things outside of my personal bubble, and the rules of social decorum began to set in. Suddenly, things like shoes became practical and even cool. After all, if adults wear them, why shouldn't I? And this is a good question, because when I turned 8 years old, my life began to change. My childhood freedom began to leave me, and I started experiencing this because it wasn't due to external pressure, but rather internal pain that caused this freedom to leave. I had begun to experience extreme pain in the arches of both of my feet. It literally felt like a red-hot knife was digging into my flesh and extracting the tendon inch by inch. Not comfortable. My parents, being the awesome people that they are, took me to see some of the best podiatrists in the region. And it was there that I was poked and prodded and x-rayed and finally diagnosed with not 1, but 2 problems. The first was that a tendon running down the inside of my calf was too long, and this didn't provide enough support for the inside of my foot. The second was that a bone, known as the navicular bone, in my foot had not properly fused to the bone next to it, and this created a lot of extra motion from side to side rather than forward and back. And so the professional diagnosis of these 2 problems was something called hypermobile flat feet. And the professional cure for this is to assign the wearer a pair of custom $300 orthotics, or inserts for your shoes. And And that was okay, and they were more comfortable. The idea was that they would immobilize the extra motion and be more comfortable to wear. And they were for a while. I still found myself in pain after maybe 4 or 5 hours at the most. It was all I could handle. And furthermore, these orthotics greatly, made it very difficult to find shoes to wear because I couldn't wear slip-ons, I couldn't wear sandals. High heels were out of the question as I got older. And it basically meant no fun at all. I became the girl who wore tennis shoes and boots no matter where I came from. And my life might have continued no matter what the weather was doing, pardon me. And I might have continued in this manner of sort of horizontally fitting my life's activities into my feet, the needs of my feet, had I not been standing in the marble slab one day. It's an ice cream shop here in Asheville. Very good. And the man in front of me stepped forward, and I happened to notice his feet. His shoes, his socks, what were they? This is what I saw. Very strange. And I was instantly attracted to the shoes, I mean. They were funky. They were really funky. And a quick tap on the shoulder and a short chat. And less than a week later, I had my first pair of Vibram 5 Fingers shoes. At first, I wore them simply for the novelty. I enjoyed looking down and seeing what my toes were doing. It was fun. And with only 4 millimeters of rubber between me and the ground, these shoes simulated the experience of walking barefoot while still providing me enough protection that I didn't feel uncomfortable. This reconnection with my way of walking barefoot reawakened all 200,000 of those nerves in the bottoms of my feet. And I had such an incredible experience. It was like my shoes had been locked in coffins. My feet had been locked in coffins, my shoes, for the past several years, and suddenly I could feel everything. This also changed my spatial awareness because I was suddenly completely aware of not only what was directly in front of me and my eyes, but I had a 360-degree consciousness with what was underneath me, the beautiful Mother Earth, and all the textures that she provides us with. And this was something that I only experienced as a barefoot kid, really. Since that time, I hadn't had any of that, and it was very special. And during that first week was when I noticed that these shoes were causing me to voluntarily want to get up and move. All of a sudden, my steps were lighter. My childhood curiosity came back. I felt myself motivated to walk and run and explore, something that I had completely lost before that. And speaking of motion, I was walking down the sidewalk one day, and I had the blinding flash of the obvious, perhaps the largest one of my life. I realized no pain. The pain was gone. And it was the most profound thing, perhaps, that I've ever experienced. In the present, I've been wearing Vibram 5 Fingers for about 3.5 years. They have changed my life. My shoes showed me that we, as people, are not bound by what is. We're not bound by what is current. We can dig back into our history from where we came from. I'd like for you all to remember that we've been wearing modern shoes for only 300 or less years. Before that, our feet were good enough. Our feet were what we had to get around on for the millennia before that. And I would like to challenge you the next time you walk barefoot to remember this. I think that if we can re-embrace our feet with the help of the modern innovation of things like Vibram 5 Fingers, we can remember who we are and the potential that we have. Thank you.